this is a tenor, and tenor is the largest size before we get to baritone. And it gives me the most room to move around when I play. And I wouldn't say it's the easiest to play, because you really have to squeeze your left hand or your fretting hand whenever you're playing. Hello ukulele enthusiasts, I'm John with My First Ukulele. I've gotten this question a lot, and the question is, what is the best size ukulele to start with if you're a beginner ukulele player? And I feel like it's a bit of a loaded question, but I'll tell you a little bit of my history and the collection of the ukuleles that I have. When I began playing ukulele, this was my very first one. I went into a Willis music store and I went to the back and I tried a few out. I happened to have a Fender guitar at the time, and I never had a telly, and that's kind of what this neck feels and looks like, but I just picked them up and I just started playing, and this was the easiest instrument for me to make a sound on at first. And I know that Fender gets a bad rap in the ukulele world. I didn't necessarily buy this because of the way it looked, but I just picked it up and it was very, very easy to play. Incredibly easy to play. Like, I didn't have to push down very much at all, and I can make a sound very easily. So I think the neck has a lot to do with it. I feel like the Fender ukulele necks are really nice. They just feel really good in the hand. I do know that they sound thin and they don't have the best reputation, but not having played ukulele before, I had no preconceived notions. I just went with what my gut was telling me, and I probably figured this wouldn't be my only ukulele I would own someday. So let that kind of be a good lesson to you, that no one can really tell you what instrument that you're going to like when you go in and try them out. So, your taste may change over time, but I still play this ukulele a lot. And it's the easiest one that I have to play. It's the shortest scale that I have. And it's just really easy to play. It feels really, really comfortable. It feels like, kind of like if you have some good worn-in jeans that, they're just very comfortable, and that doesn't cause me a lot of squeezing in the hand to play this one. So great for a small room, or I don't want to bother people in the house with the sounds that I'm making on the uke. So it's a great one for that. I believe my second ukulele was another Fender, and I do have a Fender Jazzmaster guitar, so I definitely did buy this one on looks, and I still enjoy playing this one. I actually have two of these. One I feel like is very good, especially for a lot of the things that people said were wrong with them, and the other one that I have is not so good. It has intonation problems with the tuners. Not this one, but the other one that I have. But once again, the neck feels really great. This one's a very smooth nitrocellulose lacquer, I believe. And yeah, I can move up and down the neck very well. I mainly bought it because I can plug it into a speaker and I could go play gigs. So I have plenty of opportunities to play music gigs, and I just needed something that I can plug in. And I didn't want to spend a lot of money, and it wasn't cheap, but it also wasn't over $500 or anything like that. So this has done well for me, and I use it a lot at gigs. Sounds great to me, but this is a soprano ukulele. It almost looks like a tenor, but it's not quite there. It's a little bit shorter than that. So the benefits of a concert ukulele is that there's just a little bit more space for your fingers to go overall. And if you take a look, this has a lot more frets up here. I don't usually use these on this instrument because I have a tenor, but you do have the option of going up here if you can get your fingers to squeeze in these spaces. So another added bonus of this is that it is slightly louder than the soprano that I have, and that's really nice when you need to be able to be heard a little bit better, even just acoustically. I definitely recommend having a concert ukulele. I think it's a little bit more space than the soprano. Just feels a little roomier, a little bit more comfortable. Again, I would probably only use it for strumming overall. I wouldn't do anything crazy like playing lead guitar solos or anything, or lead ukulele solos. So we'll talk about the next size, which is a tenor ukulele. Alright, this next ukulele is a mainland spruce top tenor ukulele, and I've got this, probably this is my third or fourth ukulele that I got. But I was ready to get a solid top ukulele, and what I mean by that is an instrument that has a solid piece of wood on top, and not, if you think of like cardboard, you've got different layers of cardboard, right? You've got cardboard, maybe some like glue-like substance, and then you have like another layer of cardboard on the outside. Whenever you order anything off Amazon, you get those cardboard boxes, and that's generally how they are assembled, right? They've got a few pieces of cardboard on top of each other, right? And that's kind of what laminate ukulele is. This is not like that. So all the sound it's generating is from a solid piece of wood. It's not having to diffuse through multiple slices of wood that are glued together. And so the result is you get a lot more sound. But this is a tenor, and tenor is the largest size before we get to baritone. And it gives me the most room to move around when I play. And I wouldn't say it's the easiest to play, because you really have to squeeze your left hand or your fretting hand whenever you're playing quite a bit more. And I've got some Japanese fishing line on here, which surprisingly is some of the best ukulele string I've ever used. But you have to fight the string in order to get it to come out. It's not an easy task, but you do get rewarded with the sound it creates. So kind of similar to a guitar, like acoustic guitar. It's not the easiest thing to hold on to for a while. Your hand's going to get tired. You can get used to it, but definitely if you need to be heard, if you're performing, this is the instrument that you probably are going to want to have, especially if you're going to be doing any soloing or anything like that, or any really big chords, diminished chords, that type of thing are really, really nice on this one. You can get in there, and it's not too hard to play, not too hard to squeeze your fingers up in there, right? All right, and the last ukulele size, which I don't have here with me today, is a baritone ukulele. I'd love to do a special feature on that type of ukulele in the future. It is tuned differently, so it is different than a soprano, concert, or tenor, and it's tuned D, G, B, E, which are the highest four strings of a guitar. So there are some critiques of the baritone guitar. People just say, oh, it's a guitar without two strings. I tend to think it's a little bit different. I mean, the size is quite different than a guitar. Guitar is still much longer than a baritone ukulele, and it just doesn't feel like a guitar, and I've got many guitars. So I think it's its own animal, and it has a lot less tension on it than a normal guitar has because of that neck size change. It's a lot shorter scale, so it's a little bit easier to fret, feels more relaxed, kind of like a soprano ukulele in C tuning. I do enjoy playing baritone. I don't get to play it enough, but it is useful to have around. And if I'm playing the tuning DGBE, I generally will grab my guitar that I've got. All right, so I'm going to tell you some factors you need to think about for choosing a ukulele. So probably one of them is definitely going to be price. For your very first ukulele, I would recommend a laminate ukulele, just to make sure that you like the instrument. Now, if you've picked one up and you're in love with it, and you're pretty certain you're going to play fairly often, I would say, a few times a week to every day, then you might want to look into getting something like a solid top ukulele like this mainland. These aren't terribly expensive. I believe the mainlands start at maybe $150 and up. I believe this one was around $300 something. I got a little discount on it because it had a little scratch and dent on there from when I went to Ukulele Festival. This was marked down, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to pick up one and get to know it and see if I really, really like it. And I really do. It's got a very bright sound, but it really projects as well. So I've really enjoyed this mainland ukulele. I think if I got another ukulele down the road, it would probably be a custom one, and it would be much more expensive even, but it would be exactly everything I'm looking for, and that might be my very last one. But in the meantime, I probably would sell a few off. I think I have about 20 right now. So some of the perks of a soprano ukulele is that it's really easy to play. Like, you barely have to push your fingers down. Here's an interesting fact. Soprano ukuleles used to be tuned mostly in D rather than C, so there's a little bit more string tension. Even brighter sound than C, right? But yeah, it had a little bit more string tension, so when we bring it down to C, it's got that really, really comfortable feel. And I definitely recommend for a first ukulele player, sopranos are great at just kind of learning the ropes, because you might be holding the strings for a long time trying to get the note just to sound just right. So I feel like I did a good thing by getting a soprano at first. The perks of a concert ukulele is that there's a little bit more space to do things. It could be a little bit louder. You might find ones that you can plug in. There are sopranos you can plug in, but there are a lot more concerts, I think, that you can plug in. And concerts are the most popular ukulele size out of all ukuleles. So that's just something to think about. The tenor ukulele is great. You're going to find a good variety of those. For me, I knew that I had to have a solid top after I had the first couple of ukuleles, and this fit the bill just well. It is a factory line ukulele, which means that, it's not a custom everything on there. It's assembly line, and then they're put together here in the States. But I think it's a really great first solid top ukulele for sure. If you need a little bit more space while you're playing, or you have large fingers, that's definitely something to consider. Some people's fingers are even so large that they can't even get their fingers on a tenor ukulele, and something like a ukulele bass might be even better for their hand size. A baritone ukulele is great, especially if you're playing in a ukulele group and there isn't a baritone player. It really helps to fill out the sound, and I just think it's a really unique contribution to the ukulele world, even though it is very close to a guitar. If you want to look at my shirt, you might have a laugh. It says, "Ook, I am your father," and the little ukulele says, "No." The baritone is the closest to the guitar, for sure. Is it a guitar? I don't think so. But that's neither here nor there. You'll hear a lot of flack about it, but I definitely think it belongs in the ukulele family. So, what are my thoughts about acquiring a ukulele? Well, I think you should own one of everything, ideally, and then you'll kind of figure out how best you can use them, So I kind of treat ukuleles kind of like members of my family. Like, I'm not going to say the soprano is better than a tenor. I think each of them have their own unique qualities that make them really special, and it just kind of depends on the situation that you're going to be in and what you're going to be playing, the size space that you're going to be in. Are you inside? Are you outside? Are you going to be plugging into a speaker? Are you just going to be playing solo? Are you going to be playing with a group? All things to consider, right? All right, well, if you enjoyed today's content, please hit like and subscribe to the My First Ukulele channel below. I've been John, and until next time, happy strumming.